Hi everybody, just going to run through a few recent vinyl finds. Anything special here? I don't know. One or two are quite nice. First of all, we're going to start off with a bit of Vclt. John, 6-inch pianist, just showed this and included a nice note. He found it for £1, and he said it's one of those records that some days he thinks it's a masterpiece, other days he thinks it's absolutely awful. And it's funny, I've listened like he did. I listened to it for years online and on headphones and whatnot. I thought, oh, it's really great. But listening to a record, I have a similar sort of, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to be in the mood to listen to this. I really like the last two tracks in particular because they're a bit different. But yeah, the feel and the flow is great on here. It's a funny thing, yeah, so I had a similar effect. I don't know if subliminally because he said it, I don't know. But I'm really happy to have it, and I've already said thank you, but I'm saying it again. I really do appreciate it. I know it's going to be one that gets played more and more. Dino Valente. Okay, this is run through a few things I got here. Found a copy of Ride Your Donkey. Another Trojan comp. There's a whole bunch of it, sort of junk classical stuff in it. I was just flicking through. I just, hold on, what was that? I flicked back a few and it was this. You can see why these get overlooked in shops and that, because it looks so nondescript. It's only if you know what you're looking for. It's a really nice copy of it. There's some fantastic tracks on there. I mean, top quality. Anyway, I'm not going to spend ages on these. I found this today. This is Anne Dweller, World's End. Now, as Anne Dweller's Dream, that album, Love, Peace and Poetry or something, is absolutely mind-blowingly brilliant. One of the best psych albums. And this is not. I so wanted to, I remember hearing it years ago and not being too impressed, but finding it, in a charity shop, you're going to pick it up. It's original Reflection, so quite hard to find over here. A little bit easier in the States, as a lot of albums are. But it's quite pedestrian, disappointingly so. I really want to love it, but it's another one of those one or two great tracks, but even they're not great. This is, I found a bunch of unusual records the other day. This is a band called Akan, an Israeli band. There's only 2 or 3 musicians really, but it's got a really nice insert. It's just a 2. And it's all synthesizer stuff recorded onto, is it 8-track? Like a home recording system back in the 80s, and it's all minimal synth stuff, although there's acoustic electric guitar and whatnot on here. It's got that classic minimal synth sound, and it's a really good little find. The pressing's not a great quality sound. I mean, I'm not always into that kind of stuff, as you know, but you can, a lot of modern records are pressed too close together and you think, oh, it's the same with this one. So some of the sound, you have to turn it up. I don't know, it's necessarily sounding as good as perhaps the original was when it came as an EP. Very limited, really hard to find. I just took a chance on it because it looked interesting. I'm really glad I did. That's a nice, unusual thing. Another thing that John showed the other day was this album. This is Skizzy, or whatever you want to call it, Skizzy. He did a lot of kind of library music, kind of that kind of stuff, soundtracks and the like. And I was aware of his other album he did with Faber, is it? Infinity, which is all kind of electronic pieces. For some reason I'd forgotten all about this one. When he showed it, I listened to it again. I thought, yeah, I've got to get that. This is a classic record. It's of electronic kind of soundtrack stuff, really good. Fantastic album, managed to get it really cheap on eBay. So that was a nice little find. I like it when you start watching an item and someone sends you an offer, you know, you're onto a good thing. You know, Vanilla Fudge, I had this album years back, but what makes this a little bit more special, at least to us in the UK, it's not easy to find a mono on a UK label. Obviously these things are everywhere in the US, but it's in really nice condition as well. It's quite an unusual find in this country to find a mono in very nice condition. Okay, this is Kenny Everett, the world's worst record show, and there's 20 tracks on here, which are meant to be absolutely appalling. Some are, but it's interesting. You've got stuff like Surfing Bird by the Trashmen. Now I remember that track being, you know, always vilified and mocked. Now it's become something of a classic with Nuggets Revival and all of that stuff. But really, when you think about it, it's a really naff track in some ways. You want to compare it to others on this album, you'll think it kind of sits quite nicely. This is on Yuck Records, which is actually, yeah, it's a K-Tel album. But an unusual find. There's some quirky stuff on here, inevitably. Some of it's actually quite good, but yeah, some of it is appalling. Is it the album I'm going to play every now and then? I'll play it occasionally, but I'm not going to play every track, you know, you'll be grimacing and wincing too much. Anyway, I found a bunch of jazz stuff. Art Tatum, this is just a wonderful, wonderful record. The track on here, You're Mine, You, they're playing from Benny Carter, his alto sax, it sounds like a tenor. Just a beautiful lyrical sound and just a marvellous, marvellous record. I've listened to volume 1. I don't like it as much as this one. There's a whole series of these, right? I'm doing 9 of them in the series. Various recordings, not all just small groups, there's all sorts of stuff. But yeah, oh, what a find that was. It's on Pablo. This was a nice find, if you're into that kind of thing. Bismala Khan, Master of Chennai. This is music from India on EMI, on an original Indian record. I mean, look at the condition like. Does it sound like the kazoo? Perhaps at times. This is actually a remarkably good record, but you have to be in the mood for that kind of thing, you know. George, for your listening pleasure, I hope. Warm regards, Samir. Bangalore, 7th of March 1983. This is an earlier album from the 70s. A couple more of these. This was also with The Magnificence of Stereo. And this sounds phenomenal. You can see what they've done here when stereo was new, of course. You've got the tabla this side, the Dogai that side, Tanpura supporting Shana and the harmonium. I think the harmonium is what makes these records, gives it that lovely drone. Another original Indian press. Fantastic. Really interesting record. Here's a copy of Jeffrey. Now this is becoming a really, I say sought after, it's becoming more and more well known. It's been sampled by numerous people, I believe. Great soul album, 79, didn't really do very well, kind of just went under the radar. This is the first UK issue from 1988. But wonderful, wonderful soul music, so many great grooves, there's a great feel and a flow to the songs. His voice is lovely, but yeah, it's got more to it than a lot of soul records, and it's becoming sought after, as I say. That's a nice find. This was a fantastic find. Groovy Joe, You can see he's a horn player. I think there's one track on here, he's got some vocals. There he is with Moody All Stars. Now this is on Mood disc. Fantastic. I mean, fantastic record. It's Jojo Bennett. Harry Moody was the guy who ran the record label. He's obviously licensed out or subsidiary of Trojan Band. Not something I've seen before. Oh, some great stuff on here. 10 Steps to Soul. It has that soul vibe and it's got like a soundtrack feel to it. Marvellous. It's not 100%, it's like not reggae mint, i.e. it's not scratched to bits. I have a few marks on it, but it's not something you see very often. Real rock steady stuff. And this is a fantastic find, and if and the slim chance for Ricardo or John Coltrane 68 you're watching this album is right up your street, believe me. Gaia music. Brazil, North India, Indonesia and Mali. And it's a DJ who actually plays, called DJ Tupo, he plays bass and stuff, and here's all the people he works with. Went around the world playing with different musicians from different countries, and the tracks on here are just magnificent. I mean, they are marvellous. The bass, the way he plays the bass is just, it's just out of this world. The stuff here, it's not world music as such, although obviously it is, but at the same time he's got a real groove and the sound on this record, I mean, I think it's just fantastic. If you're into world music, but you want to hear something slightly different, it's got a real, it's hard to describe, it's like a modern feel, but God, it's got a depth to it, He's really picked quality artists to work with, and the musicianship is incredible on this. That is a great album. It's quite cheap to find. Anyway, a few singles. Sweathog, Hallelujah. That album is actually quite desirable, but it's not easy to find. So finding this single was nice. Not the greatest tracks, but a nice find. One on Palmer. This is Bang Bang Lulu. Lloyd Terrell. A nice copy on Beacon. I mean, I've got 3 of these, all like different labels, although Beacon ain't nothing but a house party by the Showstoppers, an absolute classic. And this is a nice one. It's quite a rare record. This is Satisfaction, Don't Rag the Lady. Again, another album. Did they have an album? Am I confusing? Quite a rare thing. I think they did an album. But yes, 2 or 3 singles that the band did. Kind of progressive, psyche overtones, a bit of classic rock sound about it. And Gregory Shant. So there's more sort of jazz improv thing on the back. It's strange, sort of proggy jazz. That's a nice find, quite rare. There's a few CDs I found as well, just to finish off. Don Cherry, John Coltrane, Avant Garde. Herbie Hancock, Taken Off. It's nice, got Watermelon Man. Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane. These are all the original jazz classics, I think from the 80s. 87. I've got a little book which shows these jazz classics and all the different things you could buy at the time, like a catalogue. It's interesting, but I rarely ever see the original CDs. Bill Evans Trio, Explorations. This one's a nice one. Jacobistorius is on this. It's quite an unusual find. I've yet to hear this one. 1987, I believe. I think it may have been one of the last things Jacko recorded. There's a John Coltrane live. Stuttgart, 1963. There's various Mingus CDs and all sorts. Another Love Supreme. Anyway, that's it. And Benj and Derek say hi. See you guys.